Welcome, everyone, to the Sylvania Rams.
Well, he disappeared, Coach Vann. Welcome to the Tyler Vann Show with Tyler Vann and me, Howie, Chaney, and who knows where Randall's at, but he'll be back in a minute. Coach Vann, how's everything going this week?
A little better.
Hey, I just went nuts on my end for a minute. Every now and then, all my equipment's just got to quit working at the same time. It makes it better. Everybody hear me now?
We got you.
All right, Coach Vann, welcome in. Howie, Chaney, welcome in. Let's go right into it because we got a bunch I want to cover tonight. Let's start with homecoming week, Coach. You talked about it in depth last week. A lot of distractions. But it looks on Friday night, the football team settled down and played well, 42-7 over a good Glencoe team.
Yeah, we didn't come out too hot. We actually drove down the field, got stopped inside the 5, and we missed a cut. And we made some mental mistakes down there, but we ended up turning around and playing okay football. We got to continue to get better. Our energy wasn't great Friday night. I understand it's homecoming. We didn't play up to our standard, I didn't think, but we'll take a 42-7 victory and learn from it, get better. We got a huge rivalry game this week, so we got to keep preparing well, on a short week and get ready to go.
Coach, that leads right into we'll come back to Glencoe in a second, but one of the questions I had up front is you're playing your rival, you're playing Plainview. Everybody that's ever been in that area knows what Plainview, Sylvania is. And you have a 4-day practice week. We've talked about staying on schedule. You're still on schedule. But does the fact that it's Plainview week change anything in your preparation?
It changes the scout cards. That's about it. We do everything the same for them as we would 5 or anybody else we play on our schedule. We got to prepare the right way. The only thing changes is how long we're out there on Wednesday, but they know an hour and 15, hour and a half practice could turn into 2.5 hours or 2 hours if we don't want to execute right early. So we got to come out tomorrow, execute the correct way. And, they do a lot on offense. It's your eyes got to be in the right spot. You got to know your job and do it every play and one play off. One play not doing your job in this offense and not reading your keys, you're going to end up letting them crease you or it's not going to be good. So we got to prepare the right way on Wednesday. I thought Monday, Tuesday's been fairly well, but we got to clean up a few things tomorrow and finish the week the correct way.
Okay, sounds great. We'll get back to, I'm sure, the rivalry here in a minute. One more question, then I'm going to turn it over to Howie. I looked at the stats, and overall, 470 yards on offense. Played 2 different quarterbacks, got several people reps. How do you feel about that output? And also, how did you feel about your quarterback play at Glencoe?
Going into the game, my plan was to I felt like we should control the line of scrimmage, run the football when we had to. And it was something, in the past game, I feel like if we're going to win football games in the future and in the playoffs, we're going to have to be able to throw the football. And 9 threw it well when he was in, and then I knew if something ever happens to 9 or 3 needs to come in and spin it, that we've got to get him a lot of reps. And I felt like this last week was the time to get him some quality experience. And that's why we, pulled 9 there. And we was up 28-0. And we got 3 in and let him run some 2-minute offense, let him get some work live with that, and then go in the second half. And I just let him have it the rest of the game. But I'm really proud of how 9 and 3 both played. We got some things we got to clean up with both guys, but they know what they got to clean up. They know what they got to work on. They got to watch film. They got to ask questions. They got to be ready in meetings when we're watching film to know what they got to ask. They can't just watch practice film for the first time when they walk in and sit in front of me. They've got to watch it on their own and figure out, kind of coach themselves and come in and ask questions and be ready to talk about what went on in practice. But they both on Friday night, I was pleased. We left both should have threw interceptions that, either the ball sailed or we read it wrong. But that's why we want to read it on Fridays. Friday's a whole lot different Monday at practice, going against some really good DB groups and chances to make plays on Fridays. But really pleased with the offense. Yardage wise, we could have run the ball more. Obviously, I feel like 2 and 22 could have both had some big nights on the ground, and both of them did have really good nights. But if we wanted to run it 35, 40 times, I felt like we could have. But again, we have stuff we need to work on because eventually somebody's gonna be able to stop the run. Somebody's gonna load the box up, and we got to be able to throw the football. And so that's some things we need to work on Friday, and there's really good opportunity to do so.
Coach, and Howie, I'll come after this question. How important is it that 3 gets to simulate that 2-minute offense? And also, he got to come out and see that critical 5 minutes after the halftime. Those, that 10 minutes there, or even in his case, the 7 minutes, that's hard to read. It's hard to even take practice time and give it that look. Tell us how important that is that he got those game reps.
It's very important. It's hard to simulate 2 minutes, and for one, our practice against the defense has to get lined up quick because we got 37 kids, but against a varsity, we got a bunch of young guys on scout, but against a varsity group defense that you're going up tempo with a play clock, it's hard to simulate that. So for him to get them reps is huge, and then when you're playing quarterback, you got to go in at half and make adjustments and come back out. It's different and take the drive, and it's very important. First drive out of half, the first few minutes is very important, just like the first half, first few minutes. You want to set the tone. You want to create an advantage early in each half. And it was big for 3 to get that look because you never know what could happen in the future. So.
Right. And fans want to talk about how we played in the first quarter, the second quarter, the fourth quarter. Me as an announcer that's always kind of looked and talked to a lot of coaches, it's always that 10 minutes, 5 before half, 5 after half, that really sets the tone for a game.
Yeah, and it really goes kind of under the radar. Not a lot of people notice it, but it's one of the most important few minutes there of the game on each side because you don't want to lose momentum after going into half. You don't want the other team to gain it going into half, then out of half, you want to start the right way and create yourself an advantage energy-wise and with momentum leading into the rest of the game. So it's very important.
Howie Chaney.
Coach, I want to go back to something you mentioned a few minutes ago as far as watching film. Does all the players have a way of watching the game film without you being around?
Yeah, so on our huddle, every one of them can sign in. They have a sign-in just like I gave Randall one to sign in and watch film. They have the same thing. They can go in and we share a playlist or whatever with them. They can go in and watch it.
Well, that's awesome. That's getting up there with the college and the pros right there, being able to let the players watch it on their own.
Yeah, they do a good job of it. There's a few of them that watch it more than others, obviously, but I get on there and check how much time they spend on it, and we have a few that do a really good job. And I could tell you the ones and brag on them, but I wish all of them would do that. We have a few that do a really good job of it. I'm proud of them. They probably don't know it, but I know when they're watching it, and I'm happy they are.
I want to phone everybody.
Huh?
Now they know.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the short week compared to a couple of weeks ago against Ohio. You ended up playing on a Thursday night. You didn't expect to play a day early, but this week you can kind of prepare for it. What's the difference between not knowing you got a short week and knowing a short week?
45 minutes. I cut practice down about 45 minutes on Wednesday on a week where I know it's going to happen. I feel like we prepared just a little bit different today than we have maybe on Tuesdays before. I think we was off the field at 5:40 today. We're normally a little earlier, so around that time. But Wednesday, I really want to get off the field a little earlier than we did previously. I feel like we're going to go in when the kids know it, and I've told them all week that we're going to. Because if I would have done it a different way, the week where it was kind of a surprise for us, and I changed it to weather, and kids think that because it's Wednesday, it should be a walkthrough because it just got changed. If I'd have took an hour off, I'd have worried that we wouldn't be mentally ready, that we think it's going to be a day off. But I've told them all week, Wednesday's an important day. We're only going to be out here an hour and 15 minutes, and we've got to do We got to prepare the right way in the hour and 15 minutes, just like we would on a normal Wednesday, because I'm going to cut some things down, but we're going to really focus on things that I feel like we got to work for our game plan going into tomorrow night. So tomorrow's going to be a really up-tempo day, so we got a lot to get in a very short amount of time because I really don't want to take much out. So we've got to do things at a higher pace even than we already do. So everything's going to have to be planned out just as good as it normally is.
Now, with homecoming being last week, it just seemed like everything just didn't click the way it should have. Pretty much, you talked about it practice, and then even on Friday, it just seemed like things just didn't go as planned. From starting off with the victory line with the sign not falling apart, and then some players got substituted that wasn't supposed to get substituted, and so tell us a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Homecoming week, man, I dislike it, and I feel like sometimes I tell our kids, first day, last Monday morning, I told them enjoy homecoming. I'm not telling you not to enjoy it. Seniors, this is your last one. Enjoy it, but at the same time, understand there's no homecoming on Friday night without a ball game. So we're there. They're there for you guys. Well, I know there's a lot of things that go on homecoming, and I'm glad that they do. I'm proud for the band, proud for the cheerleaders, proud for everybody. But we have got to be sure that we're prepared to play a football game, because in Glencoe, it's good enough to beat you. So we need to make sure we focus on us. And I felt like, for the most part, after Tuesday, we did a really good job preparing. Tuesday was not a very good day. I talked about that last week. It wasn't a good day last week. I think it showed. I think it showed on Friday night that we didn't have a good day on Tuesday. When you don't have a good day, it's going to show at some point in the game. And it's going to show for, in my opinion, a longer period of time than it would be if you had a good week. Because if you have a good week, bad things are still going to happen. Just because you had a great week of practice does not mean adversity or something you're going to mess something up, maybe even a few times. But I feel like when you have a bad day, kids know that we've had a bad day. And especially as a coach, I just feel like there's you may mess something up a little bit more than you should have just because you had a bad day. So we got to fix it. And I thought, like you said, things weren't going good against Glencoe early. Felt like our guys, settled in a little bit. Realized, what, we're playing a football game. We got to win this game, and they kind of kicked it in gear. And we played really well, I thought, for the most part on offense.
Randy, I got one more question, and I'll come back to you. One play against Glencoe I want to kind of touch on is the one punt that you had that night to end up being 66 yards, and you kind of hesitated about sending the punter out there. Could you go into details about that a little bit?
Didn't want to punt. I mean, I'm an offensive guy. I hate punting. I hate it. If we can cross the 50, you can mark it down more likely it's 4-down territory, because I just don't like punting. But obviously, if it's 4th and long, I think it was on. We was in our own territory pretty good too. It wasn't. There's really no thinking involved in it. I knew I was going to have to punt. I was just really chewing myself out for the play call that I made on first down, screaming. That series was all jacked up because they left a guy. They didn't have a corner over our outside receiver. By the time we snapped it, the dude safety was running full speed over there. We didn't throw it far enough over him, or it would have been a touchdown. He gets a tip on it. And then we run jet sweep, and our jet guy, instead of running through the crease and out the side for 30 yards or more, he tries to cut back into the line. So we get 2 yards. So now we're 3rd and 8. We throw a slant into the boundary, and we throw it behind the guys to the on time. And so now it's 4th and 8. And there's 3 plays right there. All 3 plays had the opportunity to be good plays, and we didn't execute in any one of the 3. And it's frustrating as a coach. And when you work something and you feel like the kids, it's always one guy. And that's all it takes in football is one guy. That's why I love the sport. Everybody's got to be on the same page, and we just got to do a better job executing right there. I was more frustrated with me, to be honest with you. I hate punting. I hate it. But two did a really good job. He booted it. It's either one of them punts in practice or it's a shank. So I was glad we got the good one.
It ended up being really good. I think it pinned them down to about the 3-yard line. And, 6 yards. I mean, he's averaging pretty good punt yardage this year. 1 punt for 66 yards.
One for one. So he's got to be the best punter in the state average-wise right now.
Go ahead, Randy.
Well, I think you know the coach you must know the coach at Sequatchie County, because if we're at the 49 or past, we never punt. So I think he's from Buckhorn, so y'all had to be in a coaching clinic somewhere together, because that man hates
yeah.
Seen on earth.
If it's 4th and long now from about the 49, if it's 4th and like 5 or longer, I'm going to punt it. But I don't know against Pisgah. We didn't. We didn't really have a punter. I felt confident in at the time. We hadn't worked even Aiden much. Our backup punter was Braiden, 22, and he had a hurt groin on that other side that he had hurt pregame. So then we was down to, 2 was the next guy. So, oh, well, it is what it is.
It worked out for you. Coach, and I'm not looking for you to reveal scheme or changes, but did I see us getting a couple of different little formations? Did we have a couple of things different, or did we not get lined up correctly?
No, we did. We've added some wrinkles in there with some empty sets where we're going to split 2 and 22 out a little bit.
Yeah, that's
actually both ways, and we're going to leave 9 back there by itself. We're actually going to do that a whole lot more this week, probably the whole game. We're going to be in empty the whole game this week, and so probably won't even have a tight end. We're probably just going to play 5 receivers, 5 linemen, and a quarterback back there, and just sling it every play this week. No, we had put some wrinkles in and stuff that we're going to hopefully people prepare for, and if they don't prepare for it, then when we get in it, hopefully we cause some problems with it. So I just feel like 22, both 22 and 2 have good hands. 22 is a tall, lanky kid. He's actually not. He's thickened up. Finally, he's looking really good. I think he weighed in at 190 something, 191 the other day, and he was at 170, 169 in the against Sachs when he was sick. Now he's put on a lot of weight. Looks really good. He's somebody I want to get in the slot and throw the ball to some, because he's got really good hands. And so we're going to be able to split him out, run him, put him in motion, run him, run the quarterback, run 2 back the other way. Just do some things that way that, and I think gives us some advantage and something else for the opposing defense coordinator to prepare for.
It also forces some kids that's not used to playing in space and covering receivers. You force their hand a little bit when you're willing to go empty like that.
Yeah, really tough on them, especially if we're 5 wide empty and in a motion that we end up with him in the number 3 spot somewhere. It's really tough on some inside linebackers if they're going to try to cover him in space and over the middle. So,
and it extends your run game via the screen, and there's all kinds of creative things you could do. I thought it was really, really an interesting time in the season to kind of shake it up and add that to the playbook. But Coach, with the night that 2 and 22 had, plus the night both of the quarterbacks had, it might have been the time that you feel like we're firing the best of the year, or you said you left a lot on the field. Does that mean that even that 470, we could have had 570? It was just some misfires, or was it Glencoe making a few plays too?
A little both. We should have ended up with more. We punted and went 3 and out, and that should have never happened. Felt like we had them in some alignments that we were going to be successful in. I actually messed up as a play caller a few times. I wanted to trade more, and I didn't. I didn't do that. I didn't motion enough as I wanted to when I went into the game. But we left a lot out there, maybe via missed block or 2 that we wrapped a few times. Instead, we had our head inside, but all we had to do was we work it all. If you don't have a guy inside of you, need to work out. If we block that guy, our running back still running 2 different times still right now that we just missed. But shouldn't have went 3 and out. I was really disappointed in that. But yeah, but they also made some plays. So Glencoe made some plays on defense, but we have to execute better on offense and do our job. And that was a good game to work that. So,
Coach, one more, Howie. I'll come back up after this. Coach, the defensive side of the football put together another great game.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know going into game 1 if the same level of confidence that you have in that defense now was there. And talk about the growth of our defensive unit from game 1 to game 6.
I've been really excited about our defensive line, since day one. I love them guys. They work their tail off. They do a really good job, and they cause a lot of problems for the opposing teams on offense because that's where the game's won and lost. And I really, really love our defensive line and what they bring to the table for our defense. And I know our linebackers love our defensive line because they do a really good job keeping guys off of them and let them run and make plays. But defensively, we're finally slowly getting some guys back that's going to help us at the linebacker core. We've been playing a lot of people at Mike, a lot of people at Will, and it's all been changing up. So we're finally starting to get a steady rotation. We're hoping to have some guys back next week that really is going to, get everybody back healthy at linebacker core. We're still going to be missing more than likely a few guys there that would help us on defense and offense, but hopefully we'll get them back next week for a big region game against Oaks Bluff. But I wish we'd had them back this week. But defensively, I really like where 15 is. He flies with the football. He's going to read it wrong every now and then. He's going to step wrong every now and then, but his effort makes up for that. And I think that guy, 15, and as soon as we can get 21 healthy, and 2 and 54 has gotten better at Mike. Our linebacking core, I feel like, is where we've gotten better, and then secondary has took a huge step forward since.
Absolutely.
I think we've forced 8 turnovers in 2 games. I want to say maybe 7 or 8 for sure. In the last 2 games, anytime you can do that, you're going to win a football game. So we're doing a pretty good job taking care of the football. We put the ball in jeopardy a few times that we can't do this Thursday night, or we'll get beat if we turn the ball over 2 or 3 times this week. They're a really good football team, so we can't do that. We can't put the ball in jeopardy because their guys will make plays. They have a bunch of really good athletes on the back end that we're, that we can't do that. So, but I'm proud of them, proud of our guys. We just got to. Defensively, like you were saying, we have taken a step forward. We got to continue to take a step forward, but I'm really excited about that.
All right, Howie, fire away.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Coach Vann, you talking about the defense, and Randy kind of led me into this question as far as Glencoe. You gave up 7 to them, but it was on a busted defensive assignment. Could you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so sadly I can. They were rolling GT or Tech back the other way to the wing back, running trap back that way, counter. And so they were handing counter to the wing back. Quarterback just keeping it running, giving it turning back counter. That was killing us weak side over there, whether it be our defensive end getting washed, strong side defensive end not being able to chase it down, or a corner or outside backer on their side not setting the edge very well. So we had a few problems on the weak side. Well, we started to do a better job. We got it fixed. Because we put 51 on the weak side. Well, that fixed that and so they fake for some reason our strong side corner. In this case, Braiden was chasing counter back the other side for some reason. The quarterback faked it and he kept it. So our corner was there for the quarterback. He had no other responsibility. His wing back tight end went that way. His eyes should have went Q. And instead of his eyes going Q, he's used to them giving it. And he got in the habit of running across the field. And 2, one of their best players kept it at the back end. So, but he did a good job staying at home the rest of the game. So.
Right, yeah, it seemed like they've been running the same play over and over and over, and then all of a sudden it's just kind of like what I would consider like a naked bootleg, and then
he did. He just faked it. He had no lead blockers in 22. Was running across the field.
Right. But, yeah, overall, to me, that was the only bad play that I saw the defense make. But, like I said, I'm not X's and O's, so I really don't know. But overall,
it was one of the main busts that we had. Other than that, so
yeah,
we failed to cover the back out of the backfield. Our Will did one time, which gave them pretty easy 8-9 yards on the pass play. But them were 2 of the biggest busts we had.
Yeah, to me, it was like 51 and 33 was living in the backfield. And we say that week in, week out. But if you've been at the games, you see they're in the backfield living all night long. Sometimes right there back there quicker than the ball gets to the quarterback when they're in shotgun formation.
Yeah, they do a really good job. 51, 33 both do a really good job, and I hope we continue to do that.
Yeah, coming into Plainview, you never know what Plainview's going to come out in as far as what type of offense. And Coach Pruitt, he's notorious for the wing tee, but when you got a Sylvania and Plainview game, you never know what's going to happen.
Never know what he's going to come out in. We've tried to work, a few, but I think they're going to do what they do. They may surprise me. I think they feel like and should feel like they're plenty good enough to beat us with a triple option because they're a really good football team. They've had some bad breaks. They very could easily be, you can flip that record around very easily with them. I mean, they're that talented. I believe that. They ain't bad up front. They've got really good skill guys. So if we don't come ready to play, we're not going to get the result we want.
And their schedule is nearly as different as yours is, but I think they opened the season up with Priceville, which is they're ranked in the top 10 in 4A. I can't remember. Well, Fife was their week 5 game. They're playing some great teams too, and Piedmont played Piedmont very well. So, like you said, Plainview's a very good team, and if you don't come in ready to play, they could beat you in a heartbeat.
Yes, it could be, and it may not be pretty. We got to be ready to go. So, I think our guys will be. We practiced pretty well the first 2 days. We got to, like I said, tomorrow's very important that we polish some things up and fix a few things and be ready to go on Thursday. That short week. Good news is everybody's on a short week when you play on Thursday. They are too. So we're not the only ones at the disadvantage. So we just got to make sure we have a really good Wednesday. So.
You mind me asking why y'all playing on a Thursday?
The officials actually called me. The officials didn't ask if I would be willing to move it to Thursday, and I told them that's completely up to. I'm for it if they want to do that. So that's what they decided to do, and I'm good with it. We'll come over there whenever you want us to come over. We just want to play a football game. So.
Well, even though it's a short week this week, you got to look at it. You get an extra day off going in next week in a big, huge game with Oaks Bluff.
Right. That is one good thing about playing on Thursday is you get a day off on Friday. It's good after. It's really good if you can find a way to win. That Friday is really good, but if you don't, that Friday could turn into another work day for us. So we got to make sure we do our job on Thursday night.
So what will happen on Friday? Will you actually do any type of practice? Watch film? What will be the process on that?
Friday, I'll make them come in on Friday morning for our first period. We'll watch film half and half, and then linemen will be in here, and then skill be in there, stretching, recovery, things of that nature. Because we're going to, all the banged up guys want to get ice on something. We're going to stretch them, and then we'll switch it and do the same thing. Their first period, depending on how that goes, depends on if we have to come back after school.
Randy, you have anything?
Coach, now let's talk about this rivalry a little bit. First of all, I've had Coach Pruitt in my district for the last 5 years, so I'll send him back to you because that's a good football coach that always has a well-prepared football team. Coach, you took the Sylvania game or job. How much did you know about the Plainview-Sylvania rivalry, and how much have you learned the last 24 months about this game and what it means to the two communities?
I've heard a lot about it growing up, being so close. I knew. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Froze up on me. I knew that, they didn't like each other growing up, DeKalb County schools, Sylvania. And I knew a lot of people, it's kind of like North San and Pisgah, Sylvania, or North San and Otter.
Very similar. Sylvania,
Plainview. So, I knew it was a big time rivalry, and then you get here and you realize that these two communities really don't like each other very much. I ain't gonna say too much, but I knew. I guess it was actually Monday. Last night I had a man come up to me, Sylvania fan, and he was laughing, cutting up. He said, no matter how many games you win, if you lose this one, you might as well find you another job. And so, which is good. I like that. I think he was being serious too. I would have been. But I like that. You gotta want to win. You gotta want to have somebody that's going to beat Plainview, and that's what they want. We got to be able to, give them bragging rights away for another year. So we got to find a way to do that this year.
Does this rivalry make both schools better? Just because it's such a regional rivalry. Like I've been lucky enough to cover a lot of games, and I always tell everybody this is the number one rivalry game that I've covered in 25 years. But such a huge rivalry, can it make both schools really better?
I think so. I've got coaches that's played on the other side of the rivalry in this office. I've got guys like our quarterback club president. We've also got coaches that play on this side of it. And then you hear stories about, the week that was leading up, about people painting things and stuff like that. And, so it's always been a big rivalry, and I think it's good for the two communities. I think it's good for the kids. Like there's nothing like a big football game that everybody gets up for. And I think to this point, the biggest game as far as how the communities got into it or were ready for the game and packed it out was Pisgah. We had a really good crowd, but we're going to need a really good crowd this Thursday night against Plainview. So,
Howie, you're going to be able to get this game on air, on radio. Tell everybody where they can listen to you at on Thursday night.
Yeah, Coach Vann. Your good friend John Seals has volunteered us to do the 98.3 Wild Country Game of the Week, Sylvania and Plainview. So it'll be on the air starting at 6:45 with the pregame show, and then at 7 o'clock we'll have a kickoff. And wishing Coach Vann the best of luck. Back to what you're talking about, Coach has been in there. One of the best post-game pep talks, or not really pep talks, but one of the best post-game talks I ever heard was your defense coordinator, Coach Clark, after a Sylvania Plainview game, after Sylvania had beat Plainview, and he said he's been in that other locker room and know how it felt like. He said it doesn't feel well. It doesn't feel good. And what has Coach Clark told you about this week?
I don't
say that you can actually talk about on air.
I'll be honest. I don't think anybody wants to win as much as I do. But if there's anybody in this building that does, it would be that guy. He wants to win more than anybody, just like your kids want to win more than anybody. So he's excited about it. But he's told me a lot. These two schools don't like each other, and so he's able to give some insight on how they actually feel about Sylvania. So.
That there's a lot of people give that insight. Communities are very similar, but that one day of the year, you don't want to be caught on either side. I used to tell people when I first moved to DeKalb County, the first two questions I got asked was Alabama Auburn or Plainview Sylvania, and you don't have a choice but to pick a side in both of them. So, Coach, is it part of your role to understand the rivalry? We can talk about the rivalry all day, but at the end of the day, Friday night, you've got to go make football plays. You've got to create football plays. Is there a level of, after the first few plays, you get to some normalcy in your play calling? Coach Clark gets to does the sideline ever settle down in such a game?
It's different. It's last year was the first time I was a part of it. Luckily, it went our way, and it felt, there's more energy there the entire. I feel like there was a lot of energy at Pisgah the entire game. But no, it don't. It's like at that level a lot of the night because you understand what's on the line. You want to, like, I hadn't even brought it up much to the kids. They know. I don't have to tell them that it's a big rivalry game. Like I haven't even mentioned that it's a rivalry game all week. They know it. The only thing we've talked about is getting a region win. That's what we want. I've told them they know we're playing Plainview. I ain't got to mention it. I ain't got to mention it's a rivalry game. They know that. We have been, our guys have prepared the right way. I feel like they're not looking at it like it's a rivalry game. They know it, and they practiced hard. But we're trying to find a way to host a playoff game, and Plainview's in the way of that. So we got to make sure that we do our job to be sure that we control our destiny.
And this is a huge step to host a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
One more region win. In overall, your schedule after last week, and then you got this week. If you win this week, your goals from week 1 are still alive.
Still alive. We have to win every week. But if we can, find a way to win out, we're going to be in really good shape going into round 1 of the playoffs. So.
All right, Howie Chaney. I'll let you ask a few, and then we're going to let Coach Vann get off from here. Want to say thank you to the guys that I always get it backwards, so if I do, I'm sorry. KC and JT Holmes for sponsoring the Coach Vann show. We appreciate your guys. If you got some work you need done, there's a card up there in the corner, but it's also on the promotions. Give those guys a shout. Let them get the business, because they are great supporters of Sylvania football. Howie Chaney.
Yeah, Coach Vann is, like you said, like we said a couple of weeks ago, this is a 3-game stretch, and I want to word this properly, where this is the last game that off-the-field activities will kind of take place. And it's got to be a big load coming off of you, as far as we're nearly at that point. All the games are even bigger from here on out, but the off-the-field activities will kind of settle down a little bit. And you got to be feeling a little bit of relief that this is the last week of that.
Yeah, and you get focused football only. I'm probably not the greatest communicator at times with people who's doing, other things. And I try to make it all about football all the time with me, but it does make it easier. And we're going into that last 3-game stretch here towards the end. And it's like I told the seniors today, like, you got guaranteed right this second 4 games left. That's it. It's all you're guaranteed. So you better make every day count. You better get better the right way. And this is the last time you'll play Plainview in your high school career on the football field. This is it. This is the last 4 quarters you'll play against them. So enjoy it. And then, next week is probably the last 4 quarters you'll play against Hope's Club. And you're going to start quartering it down to where it's senior night against Westbrook, and then it's a big non-region game on the road against 5, and then it's playoffs, and it's win or go home. We're getting really close to that. This could be your last week of football, and it gets tough. So, we got to, like you said, though, it is a relief to be able to focus just on football and get ready to go.
And after saying that, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Randy.
No, I wanted to follow up what Coach said. This is also your last road game within the region. The next 2 region games you get at home. So this is big to get that road region win, or region road win.
That's huge. We played last year, our home record wasn't great. I think we lost 2 games at home. We lost to Sachs at home, lost to 5 at home. We went 3-2 at home, I think. Yeah, 3-2 at home, which is not what we want to do. We want to be undefeated at home every year. We want to protect our turf. We've done a really good job at that. I feel like we played better at home this year than we did last year. We didn't play terrible, but we really like playing at home. But we've also been pretty good on the road the last year and a half, 2 years. So our guys like going on the road. So it's a big road game for us. But to get a win on the road in region play and then get to come home for 2 more to take care of business, if you can find a way to win this week, is massive. So,
Howie, I'm sorry I cut you off. I just wanted to make that.
No, you're good. I just want to break the tension a little bit. And, like most schools, rivalry week and everything like that, they have dress-up days. So yesterday was Twins Day. Today was Decades Day. So, Coach Vann, I'm going to ask you, who's your favorite Twins Monday? And then today, what was your favorite person Decade Day?
Twins. I'll be honest with you, Howie. And I'll be honest with you about the decades thing. When I leave this field house, third period, fourth to go to fourth, I go sit in my classroom. Go up to my classroom that I am away from everyone. Like they put me out by myself. I don't know why. They don't like me, I guess. They put me over in the building. The oldest building at the school is the old band room. Okay. I'm out by myself. I don't see anyone. There's no hallways. Okay. I don't see anybody. All I see is my seventh graders. And my seventh graders, I couldn't pick it. I'm just kidding. There really wasn't many dressed up between day and my seventh grade group. And then today, I didn't pay attention in my class. We was hurrying up getting a couple sections in, and we had to move on. So it was like bell to bell today for once in my class, and so we were moving, and I really don't see a lot. I promise you, I don't. I'm there to my classroom, lunchroom, which is right across the street, right back to my classroom, then to practice. So I don't see a lot of people. I'm kind of the only people I communicate with most of the time is Clark at lunch, and then seventh graders throughout the day. It feels like sometimes.
Does Howie and I count the seventh graders when we get on your text?
What?
Howie and I count in the seventh graders when we start texting you in the middle of the day.
No.
So, when I text you, I know he's teaching, but he needs to know this really now.
We're going to have to bring Hannah in for like a 10-minute correspondent when we have a dress-up week or something.
Oh, yeah. I guarantee you the elementary she'll be able to tell you something. For sure.
Let me ask you these quick questions, if you don't mind, Randy. Alabama's got a big game this week. I know you're going to pick Alabama, so I'm not even going to ask you who you're going to pick on that. Tennessee, LSU, what's your thoughts on that one?
Tennessee big.
God, I hope so.
30, Tennessee 38, LSU 17.
Coach Vann, let me tell you why that would mean a lot. I would just like to sit Neyland Stadium and have that number say 6-0, 6-0, Tennessee and Alabama again, because I've missed that rivalry meaning something.
Yeah, because that's the last time it'll have a -0 for a while.
Yeah. It'll be sad for us to take. Go ahead.
I mean,
so one more question about the Tennessee. Word has it, and I saw it on the social medias, where Tennessee is going to try to checkerboard Vanderbilt Stadium. What's your thoughts on that, Coach Vann?
Checkerboard Vandy Stadium?
Yeah, if you've ever been to Vandy, there ain't enough stadium to checkerboard, really, but we'll try.
I think I've already said it, but, I'm not an atypical Bammer, okay? So, I root for Alabama, and that's what I was telling Wilson. Wilson's a diehard Tennessee fan. I'm a diehard Alabama fan. I love Alabama. Wilson reminds me of me when I was in high school and college. I kept up with everything Alabama did. So, recruiting, I could name the coaches, every one of them. And I was there. I could probably name the trainers. I knew who they were. All right. But then I started coaching a lot. Right now, I am so tied up in other things. I root for Alabama on Saturday, and I'm not happy when they lose, if they lose. So I'm happy all the time, mainly because they don't lose a lot. But no, I root for them hard. I still get mad during games, but not near as much. But Tennessee fans, I'm not a diehard. What I'm saying is I'm not a true Bammer. If it's a bowl game, I'm rooting for all SEC. Okay, but Tennessee fans haven't won in so long, Howie. They're worse than Bammers. Because I can get on there, and if I see a fire Saban Facebook or tweet, that person's needs banned from everything. That's the craziest statement I've ever heard. Or even the fire Bill O'Brien things. If he's good enough to work for Saban, why do you want to fire him? He's working with. Dude just put up a lot of points Saturday against Arkansas. It's not, I can't stand the true Bammers, but Tennessee fans, Howie, getting off the rant, finishing this up. They haven't won in so long. They would checkerboard every stadium if they could. They would. They're enjoying every second. Now, I do think this is something that's going to stay. I do think Heupel's going to do a good job, and he's going to win year in, year out. And I don't know if they're going to be national champions. I'm not saying that, but I think they're going to be top of the East, towards the top, if not the top, every year. So
Hey,
I do like Heupel and his offense. So.
I'll take not stinking, Coach. That's a step in the right direction for me.
Heupel does a good job. He really does.
He does, and he runs. Sometimes when I'm watching your film, y'all are not going quite that speed, but you get fast too.
I wish we was going faster, but we're a little bit different offense this year than we've been in the past or last year. But next year could be faster. But I'm really happy with how we're doing it right now. So
yeah.
Hey, I don't get to say this very often, but my Falcons are tied for first place. I want to do it right now because who knows, after next week, that might be the last win they have. So go Falcons.
We're going to cut Howie out at this point now. He's talked about the Falcons and the Vols. Howie's back for the rest of the show. Coach, I have one question. I'm going to let you out.
Yep.
And it's not about football, but I do want to ask you about it. And we don't talk about it enough. I know you have a passion for the classroom too, and you enjoy your teaching job. You know, is that a relief to you at fourth period? I know you would sit there and think about football 24/7, but you get to go spend some time with some seventh graders. It's got to be rewarding in its own way.
Right. Yeah. It is in a way. During football season, it's really tough. I tell them all the time, you better enjoy the freebie points you get every now and then. You better enjoy the busy work every now and then if I need to get something done. But football season is really tough. We do, you know, sometimes we go through things a little quicker than I would like to go through. It changes after football season. But my seventh graders, at first, I'll be honest with you, at the start of the year, I was like, my goodness, what Mr. Kirby is trying to run me out. I think he wants me gone. He gave me seventh graders. I could not stand it. But I've actually turned out to like them. They've been really good lately after I was mean a few days. I actually turned out it's been okay. I really do enjoy the classes that I have. And they've grown on me a little bit. At first, it was rough. I didn't know.
My daughter's in the seventh grade. I live with them. They're all crazy in the seventh grade.
Yeah,
I got a certified one right here.
Yeah, I've got 23 in the class, 24 in the class. And whoo.
Yeah, I got one at home. Coach, we're going to try to get Coach Lee on when we get an opportunity before the season's over.
Yeah, he's in Tampa still. So he went last week. We didn't have him at the game last Friday. He works for FEMA, so he was down there riding out the hurricane, and then now he's doing damage assessments and things like that down there. So hopefully we get him back Thursday, but we ain't had him back since last Monday. Yeah, we could go Monday. We missed him homecoming week too. So.
We also, if we can keep everybody healthy, we'll probably take a turn through the senior class again as long as.
Yeah, I think senior night will be Westbrook week, so that'll be a good week. It's coming up shortly.
Yeah, get them all on there and let them have some fun and stuff, and a lot of excitement coming up. And I was asked today, and I wanted to make sure, but as far as we're here through the playoff season. We're not going to stop this at the playoffs. We're going to ride out the football season with Coach Vann, and we ought to have some fun before the year is over, and hopefully we'll get to play several more weeks. We just got 4 promised, but there's 9 still out there, so we here for a while.
That's right.
So, How you got anything to wrap it up other than don't bring up Tennessee or the Falcons? Please don't bring up Tennessee. I got so nervous when you started talking about Tennessee. My legs still hadn't stopped. Look, I've sat in those seats for 35 years, Coach Vann. The last 20 has been hard on me. I'm telling you.
I hear you.
I didn't have no.
You just went with the bags over your head, wasn't you?
Hey, all right. I left Florida after 3 plays one year. Tebow got the football, went 50-something yards, touchdown. They kicked it off to us. We caught it. We fumbled it. Tebow come on, went 40 yards up the field, 14-0, 14 minutes and 11 seconds to go. I looked around at my friend Phil Harris from WQSB, and I said, I'm going to the house. So I didn't see the next 50 points, but that was that night. So 3 plays, I was gone. For Howie Chaney, for Coach Tyler Vann, for the people that joined us, John Seals, John Corbin, Jason Corbin, we love your comments. Join us next week for the wrap-up of the Plainview Sylvania week and a look ahead to, we don't have Westbrook next. Piedmont, right? Not
Hope's
Piedmont.
Bluff.
Yeah, Hope's Bluff. So we'll be here. Look, Jason Corbin, I ain't got no checkerboard overalls. I weigh 330 pounds. I'll look like a Shoney's big boy if I put them on. For us, for the people at the Tyler Vann Show, we'll see you next week.